Well, hi everyone. Welcome to this Inclusivity and Accessibility workshop at Devcon 2024. For us, it's a very special day because we are going to present a site dedicated to the accessibility and inclusivity in Liferay. And of course, made with Liferay. This liferayinclusive.com, and it will be your best accessibility guide. But you don't need to visit it right now, because we are going to explore this in more detail during the workshop. Just to say that we will use this site in the near future to share our progress and our progress in accessibility and give tips to make an accessible site with Liferay more easily.
Yeah, if you are attending this workshop, you probably already know the importance of inclusivity and accessibility in digital products and services. But it's so important that we can say that people with disabilities need digital products and services much more than people without disabilities. For example, let's imagine a website to pay a fine. Might be the only option for people with mobility impediments. So, because you can go there and pay the fine, but this person can't do it. So, if we are working on a website for paying fines and it's not accessible, by definition, you are excluding people. So, for this reason, reasons like this, and many others, global laws are aligning with this. And we wanted, we would like to emphasize this date. Can you see the animation there? June 2025. This date is when the implementation period of European Accessibility Act ends here in Europe. And all states members need to comply with this law. And this will be essential for our products and services. Any European citizen can complain to the European Commission. So the European Commission could finally force your country to audit your site or your service. And they could apply fines. And finally, the site for paying fines could be for you. Okay, stop speaking about fines.
Well, we have reason to take care of accessibility. That's why at Liferay, we want to tell you about our advance and improvements in accessibility and how you can take advantage of them when using the product. To do this, we need you to follow some good practices.
Yeah, if you want to know more about the current accessibility status of Liferay products, your document is this document, the VPAT, the Voluntary Product Accessibility Template. You can take a look to the document here. If you go to liferay.com and you go to the footer, there is the accessibility page, and you can go there and see the last version of the VPAT and the previous ones.
So the objective of this workshop is to provide tips focused on validating accessibility to not depend on automatic tests. And according to the data from the W3C, automated tests only catch about 20–30% of accessibility issues. Moreover, false positives are very common in this type of test. So how we can ensure that our site is accessible?
Yeah, we are going to need to review our sites manually. And probably the most important part of this is related to vision, because more than the 50% of accessibility issues are related in some way to vision. So people with visual diseases are the main beneficiaries of making digital products accessible. We will see more about this later.
And around 25% of accessibility issues are related to keyboard navigation and interaction, highlighting the importance of ensuring that all functionalities are accessible without relying on a mouse.
Screen readers are the most important assistive technology. We have what we have said before that many accessibilities are related to vision, and screen readers are total essential here. We recommend that you use them to validate your site, and they are a big help when we are evaluating semantics.
Well, certainly some of you are already noticed that we are not using a presentation. We are using liferay-inclusive.com. This will be the exercise for this workshop for today. And well, this site has been built as a client extension site initializer, and the site is fully accessible and combines several techniques for highlight visual sites, including animation, images, smooth scrolling, etc.
So let's start with the workshop. Okay, we have a very limited time for a workshop. So our main objective is that you can take this resource, this site, and understand how it's composed and how to use it. So let's do it. How many of you have your bundle ready to deploy a client extension? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Actually, I cannot see you. But
yeah.
Okay, don't worry about the bundle because you can follow the workshop just browsing the liferay-inclusive.com webpage, and we will review the whole site with you. So let's do it. We only need to clone the client extension site initializer. If you go there, as you can see, you have the directory site initializer. That is the whole client extension. Everything's there. So for today, we only need actually, because you can use, of course, the client extension in your workspace. But today, we only need to go to the disk directory. And as you can see there, you have a zip. We can get the zip from the this directory and copy the zip to the deploy or to the OSDI client extension in your bundle. So if you do that, you are gonna be deploying them. The site initializer. So we have a very limited time for this, so we are gonna give you 2 minutes, maybe 3. So if you need help,
yeah, raise your hand,
and
let us know.
Say it. But don't worry, the more important thing is we are gonna provide you today 3 different resources. This is the first one, the site itself. So the idea is just to understand how it's working and how can you use them. So okay, I think everybody's ready. Yeah. If not, of course, this site that we are going to deploy locally is exactly the same site that we have in liferay-inclusive.com. So don't worry about that. The resources are there. So, okay, so let's go. The first thing we are going to do with this site is the easy part. We are going to use a tool to see, in this case, Axe, to see that we have 0 issues with accessibility. But this is the easy part, because even if we had issues, we only need to follow the steps. But we also, that's something common, when we have like false positives. So for that, we are going to go to Web. Web is a really popular tool to validate websites, and we are going to validate liferay-inclusive.com. So you can see here the site loading. And yeah, we have one error, maybe more if you are not scrolling. So if we follow the errors, as you can see, this error is related to the contrast, to the text contrast. And as you can see, it's perfectly contrast. We have much more than the minimum contrast we need. So this is a good example of a false positive.
So now we are going to activate the accessibility menu. So the accessibility menu is a new functionality introduced around 1 year ago. And from this menu, you can activate configuration related with accessibility. It's very important, so for this reason, we have decided to add this button there. So as you can see in your site, the button is disabled. So to enable this button, we need to activate the accessibility menu. You can do this from the product menu in configuration site settings, or in the application menu in control panel, instance settings.
Yeah, go to the local site. Let me refresh. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, here in control panel, system setting or instance settings. Yes. So if we can go to the instance settings, accessibility, and there we can enable the accessibility menu. We recommend to do this from the instance settings because we are in an instant level. So if you have several sites, well, you can have a accessibility menu in all your sites.
Yeah, let's go to the site in local. Okay,
about one thing.
Yeah, about the accessibility menu, we are using this button here in this site, but it's also accessible from the customer, from the personal menu, and you can see the link here, and is the second tab when you are using keyboard. It's a button to open the accessibility menu.
Yeah. And now let's quickly review the fragments that we have created for the site. And they are all fully accessible fragments, and all the pages are made with them. Okay, so later we will see in more detail the most important fragments.
Okay, I think I need to use this. So let's go back to the site here. And as you can see, color is very important, of course, in design, in a website. As you can see here, we have 3 different colors dancing, and they are a green, a blue, and a purple. We created these colors in the same light spectrum. So in this way, the transition between 2 colors in a gradual transition or in a radiant is preserving the light. So the contrast can be ensured. We also added borders like this to make even more clear the contrast for the font. And something super interesting we added to this site is the theme color. As you can see here, by default we are using dark, but we can select the light version of the theme. And as you can see, everything changed, and the contrast is totally different, but we perceive the contrast. An interesting thing that we added is the auto. It's going to be difficult, this. Thank you. With auto, you can use your operating system. You go to Appearance, for example, in Mac. This is something available in Linux, in Windows, in Mac. So as you can see, I prefer to use dark mode, but you can go directly to the light. On even more interesting, you can use auto, and the operating system is going to decide for you. For example, if the light is super intensive in your room, it's going to change automatically for the light version. So this is a super cool functionality that is super easy to implement. Here, as you can see, we created some CSS variables to make the dark version, and we only need to change some of them to create the light version. And what about the JavaScript? To get the current operating system selection is here. Is some JavaScript line, as you can see, and we can see the preference of the operating system.
Okay, now let's go with the animation. We have a multitude of animation in the page. All the animation must be able to be stopped using some type of control. In this case, we can use the reduce motion from the accessibility menu. And as you can see, if we activate the reduce motion, all the animation are stopped. Also, if we use the reduce motion from the operating system, in Mac is there, reduce motion. Yeah, if we activate this, we can see that we have the same behavior, okay? So this whole animation can be configured from the fragments in the page editor. And see, we can hear that we have several fragments like animated text, animated paragraph, animated button. All these fragments has a configuration to the right, and you can change the animation type if you want. You can set an animation delay. By default is 1 second. And if you wanna repeat the animation, you can set 2 times, 3 times, or in an infinite way. Another fragment, interesting fragment, is the animated image. Here, in this fragment, you can see that we have 2 editables, an animated image and no animated image. So, by default, the animated image is shown, okay, and the no animated image is hide. If we activate the reduce motion, it's the contrary case. So the no animated image is shown and the animated image is hide. And other interesting example, if we go back to our home, you can see that we have a smooth scroll. So if we are navigating by keyboard, you can see that the scroll has a smooth effect. So if we enable the reduce motion, you can see that the smooth effect disappears. So if we go to our CSS, yeah, in the part of reduce motion, yes, there, you can see that if we activate the reduce motion, I forgot, just one thing. If we inspect the site, the page, we can see that if we activate the reduce motion, a new class, C prefers reduce motion, appears in the body, okay? So now, if we go back to our CSS, we can see that prefers reduce motion is activated, or the reduce motion from our operating system is activated, all animation are stopped, okay? And we use this technique for all cases, for images, scroll, etc. And another interesting thing is if we go back to the home, you can see that the button has an animation of 1 second delay. There, yes, there you go. And if we activate, if we are navigating by keyboard, yes, you can see that when the focus reaches the button, the animation has disappeared. So if we go to the CSS, we can see that for all elements that has that animation and has a link with focus, the animation is also stopped. So as you can see that we are controlling all the controlling the smooth scrolling, the all animation, and even the focus issues using a few lines of code.
So, okay, we have a very limited time. So we encourage you to take a deeper look to this site, because we have different techniques that we cannot see today. But as I said before, we have three gifts for you today. This site was the first one, and the second one is the manual checklist. What is a manual checklist? The checklist. Yeah, is this section here, and a manual checklist, as we have mentioned before. Automatic test is not covering everything, so for that reason we decided to create this manual checklist. This is super important because when European Commission is asking for an audit, or we need to do an audit, the process is something similar. We use, of course, automatic tests, but then we need to make this manual checklist. So we created this one, and the instructions are very, very simple. When a success criterion is not applicable to your site, it should be filled as checked. As simple as that. And we included some labels to trying to make more clear or easy to understand the relationship between, for example, the success criteria with code and labels, sensory, or wording. So we can even deactivate them, and as you can see, the number of success criteria is changing. So we think that this is super important to understand the process to make an audit. So we're going to try to do to apply the manual checklist to this site. We're trying to do it super fast because we want to focus on the most important success criteria, but we would like you to understand the process better. So we can start. It's going to be fast, and we can start for the first principle.
Yes, for the first principle, the first criterion, non-text content, images need an alternative text. So automatic test cannot validate if the text is appropriate or not. So that's why we need to do a manual review. In our case, we don't have descriptive images, so we can check this. The three following criteria are related to the video and audio. We don't have video audio in our site, but if we did, we will need to add the following: text transcription, captions, and audio description describing visual actions. Okay, so well, in this case, we can check it.
Okay, about the info and relationship, the success criteria is asking for ensures that the visual representation is correctly in the code. The semantics is like in the code. So the main full sequence, the second one, is pretty similar. The visual presentation needs to match with what a screen reader is reading. So in our case, this is super okay. About sensory characteristics, nothing refers to just a color or position or shape. That is something that we have been reviewing, and everything is okay.
Okay, orientation. This requirement indicates that the content has to be shown correctly in orientation, regardless of if our device is in a vertical or horizontal position. So as you can see, we can check this.
Okay, identify input purpose. You need to make all the fields, all the labels following a logical sequence, and you have to help when you have to autocomplete some fields. So we only have in our site a form that is the sign-in, and is totally okay with this.
Okay, for use of color. Regarding this, there is nothing on our site that is presented only in color. We are using the color correctly. For example, in this label, in this label, we are using icons and text and not only color. So is the correct way to use this.
About the audio control, we don't have audio in this example site, but if you have audio, you cannot autoplay in the audio if it's longer than 3 seconds. So it's super okay. About the contrast, the minimum is for text, and the text needs a 4.51 contrast ratio. So in our case, everything is okay. So Okay, the next one is super important. The old criteria was precise text, but the new one is reflow. Reflow is asking actually for a totally responsive website. So we need to make zoom even for, sorry, even for 400. This is actually more, but as you can see, we need to provide the same functionality in super high zooming. This is not only for mobile devices, it's also for people that just need to make it bigger. We have been having different issues in different presentations during the event, and this functionality is awesome. You know, just make them. So it's totally okay in our case. Even we have been making big efforts in our administration part of the product, and everything should be working. And so difficult in super big zooms. So yeah, it's a super okay for us. Let's check it.
Okay, for the next one, images of text. This basically means that all text on our site should be text and not images. And well, all our titles and text are text, so perfect.
Yeah. Non-text contrast is speaking about the no text elements like interface elements, components, etc., like a button, an input field, something like this. So in our case, it's totally okay. Text spacing. This is the space between different characters in a text is totally okay, but also we have this option here in the accessibility menu to increase the text spacing. So in this case, it's not only okay, it's super okay. Content on over on focus is speaking about that we need to be sure that we are not obstructing something when over focus. So yeah, we need to review that everything is working properly. And we go to the second principle.
Yes, for the second principle, the first one, we have keyboard. We already checked this before. That's it. Everything that can be done with the mouse must be able to be done with a keyboard. So for example, to open the accessibility menu, we can do this with mouse or by keyboard. Or for example, if you change the theme color, you also can do this with the keyboard. So we can check this. No keyboard trap. Basically, the focus should not be trapped anywhere on the page. So, well, we have already checked this before, so we can check this also. And character key shortcuts. On our side, we don't have shortcuts, okay? But if you want an example of this, you can go to the page editor, and there is a list for the shortcut to use.
About the next one, we don't have this in our site, but you know, when your session is being experienced in Liferay, that you have a toast alert that you can use to extend the session. Yeah, it's something like this. So, okay, check it.
Pause, stop, and hide. Well, we have seen this before. To stop animation, we have the reduce motion from the accessibility menu or from the operating system. So we can check.
Okay, 3 flashes or below. If for some reason you need to flash your users, you can do it, but only 3 times. It's pretty, yeah, no. So the next one is actually very interesting because it's speaking about this functionality, this skip to main content. This link needs to be there. So that's something that we are providing by default, and we recommend you don't remove that because it's essential for accessibility, and it's also speaking about things like this. For example, when we are tabbing and we get to a component that is super big, like in this case, we need some way to jump to skip the component. So in our case, if we use tab, as you can see, we are jumping the component. if we need to use the navigation component, in this case, we can use the arrows. So it's a super okay for us. About the title, something super important, we are going to use this plugin. As you can see, this is the different titles. This is for the titles that describe topic or purpose. We have criteria to speak about the title of the page and titles in the page. So in this case, we are showing you the titles, and as you can see, the structure is completely fine, so it's okay.
The focus order, as you can see, if we navigate by keyboard through the page, the focus follow a visual order of the page, so check.
Okay, multiple ways. The header cannot be the only one navigating mechanism. So you need to provide a sitemap or another different mechanisms. In our case, we have the same navigation here in the footer. So let's check it. It's okay. Headings and label. Headings. We were taking a look to the headings, and labels are super important to understand your site. Some buttons, labels for the forms, etc. Totally okay. Focus visible. This was something that we introduced years ago. Is this focus? Was not popular, but actually it's a really good way to ensure the contrast, because as you can see, we have two borders, the blue one and the white one, and this combination is ensuring the contrast for the focus. So it's really useful. Another thing that we don't recommend to remove. Focus visible is totally okay. Okay, about the pointer gestures is speaking about the touch screens in your mobile, in tablets, etc. And we were testing this, and it's okay. Pointer cancellation is actually this is pretty basic, because you can trigger actions that the user don't want to trigger. Labeling name matches the accessibility names. Yes, if you are seeing a label, semantically have to be the same. So it's also okay. Yeah, probably you know this. In iOS, if you do like this, you are undo something, the last action you can undo. But for example, if you are creating an app to roll the dice, you can use this shaking. But also we need to provide a button to do the same, or some configuration to activate or to provide the button. So it's an okay.
Okay, and drag movements. We don't have drag and drop on our site, but if we did, our drag and drop will have to work with keyboard. We have example in Portal in the pages tree in page editor and navigation menu, if you want an example of this, so we can check it.
Yeah, and we are in the third principle. We are super close to finish, don't worry. Language of parts. This is actually very funny. If our site language is, for example, English, but we have a block, a specific block that we have for some reason French there, some sentence in French, we need to label this block as a French. So it's something that we are not doing in our site, so it's okay.
Okay, on focus and on input, the two following criteria. We have to check that there is no unexpected behavior when focusing an element or interacting with inputs. Well, we have already checked this, so check.
Okay, consistent identification. Some of these success criteria are super connected to design. So in this case, uses consistent labels, when we are repeating element is super important. For example, if in our side theme color is called theme color, we need to keep the consistency and keep calling this component theme color. It's very useful actually. So it's totally okay. Consistent help. This is something that probably we are not doing always. In our case, we have here, as you can see, a section of help to provide help, a super cool help effect, and a text and the link to our email. So we can say that is okay.
Okay, the following frog success criteria are related to errors and instruction forms. If we go to the sign-in page in Liferay Inclusive, in sign-in, you can see that we have a form, and if we submit the form, you can see that we are providing enough information in labels and errors. So we can check this.
The next three, right?
Yeah, this one and the four. Yeah.
Next four. Yeah, we have a lot to validate about errors. Redundant entry. If we are asking to our users about something, what's your name? You need to save that information because you can't be asking and asking again about the same theme. So in our case, it's totally okay. And we have in the last principle, robust. And this is the principle that can be automated the most. So we only have to validate two in a manual review. So we need to verify that a custom component have correct names, roles, and values. For accessibility, this is speaking about, for example, if we want to create a custom select that we are going to call picker, for example, we need to use the correct semantics, the area expanded, the area controls, etc. So this is speaking about that. And it's very difficult for automatic validations be aware about everything that is related, because sometimes you could be even providing the correct areas, but the screen reader is not reading what should be reading. So yeah, you need, of course, a manual validation. And the last one, this one is funny because the status message is what is happening when we press evaluate. We are pressing evaluate here, and as you can see, we have the score message, and this is a status message. So the evaluate button is the proof that the last success criteria is totally okay. We also have here, as you can see, the labels. We have this text to show the number of success criteria we are showing. So if we start deactivating, as you can see, the number is changing. So let's try to do an example with the screen reader. Because the status messages are mainly for screen readers. If the screen reader won't. Okay. What is the screen reader?
No, it doesn't work.
Something is deactivating.
No.
Oh. Okay,
yeah,
it's here. It's super laggy. Okay. As you can see, now we are reading the different labels. For example, see label sensory on, and it's a switch element. If we deactivate, as you can see, success criteria, 43, etc. So we are providing a status. So, okay, this is we think that is a good example about what is going to happen during next year. This type of manual test is going to be something super common. Probably the European Commission is going to be asking some countries about this it's going to be something super common, guys. So that was the reason we decided to create this checklist. This is the second resource we wanted to share with you today. We have the last one, that is these cards. If you want one of them, you only need to come here and ask for it. We have the 4 principles here, and I remember of the site, the new site dedicated to inclusivity. So that's all. I think we have 2 minutes for questions.
Yes, an important topic for businesses, and it sounds like it'll be more pressing in the future to get this right. Thank you for your attention to detail. There's so many details here, but is there any questions since we have 2 minutes? Yes. Do you want to use the mic? Sure.
Hey, how's it going? Just wanted to ask if there was a difficulty trying to implement this like on different devices, like mobile and tablet. Like, and does that change at all in terms of the rules on inclusivity?
Oh,
Yes. You don't have a mic. Yes.
Yeah, I could say that is for us is something super easy, because we try to show some lines of code, because actually you don't need to do something super complex. Most of the times you only need 3-4 lines to make something work. In some other cases, more complex components, you of course need much more. But when you are using components, we have really good examples in our framework, our design system and implementation, Clay. We have been last 2 years fixing a lot of issues, just making the components works perfectly. So I would say that's actually something easy. Not sure if I'm answering you or not. Or
Yeah, there was the phone rotation one. Is there anything else that is
I
just
think it was
mobile?
mentioned that like you don't, for this case, you're not having like anything on rotation, but like on a phone, you
do you mean the shaking effect?
Well, that's one example, but also
Yeah.
text size. It should work the same with how Liferay has the bootstrap responsive behavior
Yeah.
for mobile. So I think there's a lot of consistency there with just some caveats.
Yeah. Yeah, actually the reflow success criteria is one of the most important right now, because it's asking for, making everything responsible. So responsive is very important, yeah.
Any other last questions? Okay. And thank you for creating that repo, the inclusive workshop repo, and the accessibility checklist. That might help teams save cost in rework or potential fines, right? Which would be terrible. We would never want to see that. So thank you, Marcos and Veronica.
thank you so much.